Happy Saturday. Well, it's too late. The ship is sunk. That's a sad situation, but that's what's happened. I went up in March, voiced my opinion about the amendment about Article 3 that was going to add another business agent. I brought up question 18 on the Labor Department information we fill out and send to the Labor Department. And at that meeting, Chris said he's going to check with the lawyers. But no Second Amendment was read. There was no vote. So I went up in April with my cards to run for business manager, for financial secretary, and I was passing them out in the lobby. And as you might have seen, or you will see in the other videos, they threw me out of there, Jack and his boys, and said I got to go outside. Can't do that. And there's also an article in my page that I wrote that tells you why that's just not right. It's just not fair. So the regular meeting went along and waiting for that reading of the second time so they could vote on that amendment. And there wasn't any reading. Now keep in mind, I'm in the front chair. I'm 8 feet from the president, with nobody between him and me. And I don't think I'd miss it, because here's what it said. Now you think I'm gonna miss this? 8 feet away? I'll just read this small part of it. E, business agent 6 shall be 6 business agents who shall perform such duties as assigned to them by the business manager / financial secretary - treasurer. The business manager, financial secretary - treasurer shall be powered to appoint 1 additional business agent between elections of the local union officers. An appointed business agent shall not be an officer of the union. The newly appointed business agent shall serve until the position is filled by the election at the next local union officer election. So that wasn't as fast as I can read it, but it wasn't slow either. I'm 8 feet away, waiting for this reading. You think I missed it? Really? I don't think I missed that one, because that's why I went up there in the first place, to hear that reading, get that vote. So it turns out they just went ahead and put it in. If you look at the sheet, you'll see that they've added it. I'll show you that sheet in a minute. So that took place. So that's definitely an infringement, interference to the election as far as I'm concerned. They gotta live by the bylaws that they make. Now, one might argue this is election interference, but technically it would be hard to support. But what they did when they saw I'm running, they decided they'd make new rules where you couldn't get labels. You had to go to selected printing company, Doyle Printing, great guys, I went over there, and submit to them that you want them to mail out whatever you submit to them. I submitted a card, postcard type of thing. So that was done at a cost of about $3,000 to $5,000, depending on how many zip codes you wanted to hit. So that's kind of disturbing that our union is going to, where they could actually put up a page. And if anybody wanted to run, here's so-and-so, he gets a link to go wherever he wants to put his link. So he can speak or he can write whatever he thinks is good for the local union. But they don't want that. I'll go as far back as Bernie Thornburg. I was about 29. He came to me and said, Joe, you want to teach the management classes for contractors and for the union? Oh, I said, sure, I'll do that. Man, did that get shot down. I'm sure Bernie remembers that. Man, the last thing they want is somebody to know what they're doing in there. And I painfully found that out. But that wasn't election interference. But keep in mind, this is interesting. Okay, so the campaign rules are pretty spelled out. But keep in mind, if I'm unhappy and I thought it was unfair, I have 5 days to file a complaint. And that complaint goes to the United Association, and they make a decision. For those that have listened to my previous videos down from this page a little bit, you'll see where I went to the election committee when we were nominated, and there was Jack, and there was two guys sitting on each side of him, 3 feet away, so everybody could hear each other. And introduced myself, as you noticed in the previous video, and one guy said, I'm not talking to you, and the other guy, he wouldn't either. So it turns out, Jack was there, so he heard all this. It turns out the election committee isn't talking to me. And the one guy that mumbled and didn't want to, he just left recently the United Association. His name's Donnie Braun. Now, he didn't want to talk to me. He didn't want to give me his name. He might have talked to me. He did not want to give me his name. He's a 602 member, just like me. He's a brother. He didn't want to give me his name. And he's on the committee, the guys that can oversee this election. That's pretty sad for a lot of reasons. One, I mean, why couldn't he give me his name? Oh my God, they're desperate. They're just desperate. So the ship is sunk, really. I don't know how we pull ourselves out of this. This authoritarian, autocratic union will do anything to keep the same people in office. Anything. I mean, I'm not dead yet, but I might be on Dateline. Watch for that. God, that's a sad thought, isn't it? But, it's in your hands now, guys, because it's happening to me. I'm an old man. But you guys might want to change something. You might want them to actually read the bylaws and live up to what they're supposed to. I have my bylaws platform in there where I'm fixing all this stuff and adding membership to it, subtracting some money. I mean, look at the overhead to have all these agents. We work for contractors. They pay us. 602 doesn't pay us. So and 602 brags about how much money there's in the fund, over $1 billion. They didn't put it in there. They didn't actually put their houses up to run. They don't do anything that's really responsible for themselves. They just don't want to lose the job. I mean, their hands are soft, I'm sure. Mine are. I haven't worked. They weren't soft when I was working. And you could see how personally devastating that would be. They ran, but they don't have a right to keep in office by breaking the rules. So I think it's going to be really an interesting story that the United Association is going to be in this. Because I talked to them and I wrote them correspondence. And their opinion probably is right. They say, I got to take care of it because the local belongs to the association. We belong to the local. So I'm actually just doing what they asked me to do. And Brad Barkowski did that, and recently, sorry about that name, I'm probably mispronounced it. And Chris Hollings did it. He said it, or wrote it to me, you got to take care of this yourself. Hey, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing what the UA said. Now let's see what the UA does now. I mean, everybody's in the game. Everybody. The UA, 602. Not quite everybody. Because, I tell you this is a big story. This is a very big story that Steamfitters Local 602, the nation's capital steamfitters union, skimmed money from the beneficiaries the moment they died to the tune of 293 members. They didn't get what they were supposed to get because that money was used for something else. And we don't know what, because it wasn't accounted for. There was a rule then, $3 per member times the number of members, and that's what the beneficiaries got. And when you break that rule, that money can go anywhere. It can go favoritism member, or it can go to some member that's not in favor, and nobody knows. The wife, most cases, she got money, she got a check, she wouldn't know that we were screwing her financially. Well, Thanks for listening, guys. Get out there and vote. Vote your conscience. Thanks.